Jaguar GR3 on Metalstorm review, great weapons and armor, but not so maneuverable. March 2025, the Jaguar GR3 is very similar to the MiG-23 in it is also fast, but also not very maneuverable. However, it unfortunately does not accelerate as fast as the MiG-23. One thing I noticed about flying it is how difficult it is to keep the turn rate indicator or TRI at its yellow setting when turning in a fight. I am not sure why. I think it's because its engines are just too weak to help the aircraft keep it there, even when constantly using the afterburners. So after a while, I just gave up monitoring the TRI as closely as I do with other aircraft and just focused on using my afterburners when I turn. Which is how I played when I started playing the game. But I did notice that the TRI arrow does keep close to the rectangle, indicating that you will be able to keep it at around 80 to 90% of your optimal speed and turn most of the time. So at near optimum, but just not at optimum. Its controls are also noticeably sluggish, and these factors in combination mean it generally doesn't do very well in a turning dogfight, which is sort of expected as this aircraft in real life is mainly an attack aircraft. The game does try to make up for its shortcomings by giving it better weapons and armor, like its heat-seeking missiles compared to the regular ones are longer ranged by about a kilometer. Able to lock on enemy aircraft faster by around half a second, and have a lock-on field of view that is wider by around 5 degrees, its cannons are also more powerful and causes more damage than usual. The aircraft also has great durability, and an armor which reduces the effects of cannon fire against it by 64%. Because of these qualities, this aircraft will tend to dominate early on at its lower levels, but eventually will have problems going up against better aircraft and pilots at higher levels. I initially tried to use hit and run tactics with it, but even with that it can't execute it as well as the MiG-23 because it just doesn't accelerate as fast. It also will have a lot of trouble when ambushed by nearby aircraft and forced into a turning fight. The only tactic I've found to have some success with it is to keep it close to the terrain as much as possible, so that way at least you won't have to worry about somebody attacking you from one side. And I suspect that the game also delays the detection of your aircraft by radar if you keep close to the terrain, just as it is in real life with fighter aircraft. Of course the danger there is that you could end up crashing into the terrain also. I also ended up using a lot of tricks to keep the aircraft alive, like putting the nose down to gain speed as much as possible. This is very useful in certain situations, like when trying to close the distance more quickly with enemy aircraft equipped with medium or long-range missiles, and then just popping up to them to fire when they are near enough. Overall this is not one of my favorite aircraft to fly in the game, but then again, it did help push me to my limits every time I fly it against better aircraft and pilots. I also noticed that despite its shortcomings and me not liking it very much, I do get one of the highest average trophies per game with it. This is in contrast with other aircraft that I prefer to fly more than this. But doesn't get as much average trophies per game. In the match you are watching, I was able to get 8 kills while suffering just 1 death, but I felt I was just very lucky with this match. Not most of them are like this when I am flying the Jaguar, in fact far from it. When I was playing this match, I didn't feel like I shot down that many aircraft, and I felt like I was constantly fighting for my life all throughout the game.